Barack Obama, 4 years ago, running for president, said, if you don't have any fresh ideas, use stale tactics to scare voters. If you don't have a good record to run on, paint your opponent as someone people should run from.
It is true. This plan to work against the president has been in motion from day one. On the very day he was sworn in, the GOP plot was hatched. While the president was at the inaugural ball, major Republican Party members met at a swanky D.C. restaurant less than a mile away, and they agreed to, quote, show united and unyielding opposition to the president's economic policies.
Let's not forget that they came in with one-party control. When Barack Obama was elected, his party controlled everything. They had the ability to do everything of their choosing.
Our top political priority over the next 2 years should be to deny President Obama a second term.
And now a new book sheds light on how far Republicans would go just to see this president fail. A McConnell aide is quoted in this new book saying, and I'm quoting from the book, there were two totally opposite thoughts on how to approach the situation, the McConnell aide recalls. Quote, one was, we don't like the president, we ought to pop him early. The other was, he's really popular, we should work with him. The boss's take was neither. McConnell realized it would be much easier to fight Obama if Republicans first made a public show of wanting to work with him. So this was planned. While they were all doing this and executing this plan, look at what they were saying. Watch this.
I work with the president like I work with anybody else in this town.
We do want to work with this president in terms of finding common ground and seeing how we can create jobs.
Republicans are ready to work with the president on turning this economy around.
I assure you that we want to work with the president.
They've said no to just about every idea I've proposed, every policy I've proposed, even ideas they've traditionally agreed with. No, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, we had situations where they would sponsor bills, I'd say okay, and then they'd say, oh, well, if you're okay with it, we must be against it. Happened a bunch of times.
A new book sheds light on how far Republicans would go just to see this president fail. In it, Vice President Biden is on the record saying that the GOP agreed not to work with President Obama. He says, quote, I've spoke to 7 different Republican senators who said, Joe, I'm not going to be able to help you on anything. Biden goes on to say, the way it was characterized to me was, for the next 2 years, we can't let you succeed in anything. That's our ticket to coming back, end of quote. Former Senators Bob Bennett and Arlen Specter confirm having this conversation with the vice president.
I mean, it was very clear right from the beginning that they were doing this. And I think they had a lot of success with this strategy because by being so resolutely obstructionist, they defined anything President Obama did as being somehow very far to the left. And Obama, I think, is a very moderate sort of liberal. He's actually been criticized by a lot of liberals for being too moderate. But by taking this sort of clear obstructionist line, they altered the political conversation quite a lot, I think, until the debt ceiling fight. I think that's when they started running into trouble. It weakened Obama, but it really exposed them. And that's when I think a lot of people started realizing what was going on here.
If you don't have a good record to run on, paint your opponent as someone people should run from.
Our top political priority over the next 2 years should be to deny President Obama a second term.
fallout from our jaw-dropping interview with a Republican who's peeling back the curtain on the fight to suppress the vote.
It's very sad that the Republican Party doesn't want to win votes by talking about what it stands for. It wants to ensure that some people can't get to the polls, can't register to vote.
If you don't have any fresh ideas, use stale tactics to scare voters.
There was a meeting at a hotel near the inaugural ball, about a mile away, in which that night there was a group of Republicans, you among them, that was committed to the defeat of President Obama. You told the group, you, Newt Gingrich, you will remember this day. You will remember this day the seeds of 2012 were sown.